Hashem, we have our Bekiim Bahalacha members in front of us with the great Rabbi Elmaleh, Yerum Hodo. And today we're on Bekiim Bahalacha, volume 3. We're on day 63. If you have the books in front of you, we're on day 127. Now we're reviewing again what we said in yesterday's shiur. We're talking about over here how to fulfill the mitzvah of Sisit optimally. Which type of garments are the best garments to wear to fulfill the mitzvah in the highest level? So in yesterday's shiur, we said there's a famous mahloket based on the Gemara and Menachot between the Tanaim, Rabbi Ishmael, and the way Rava explains the Tanaim. Rabbi Ishmael held that the only way you can fulfill the mitzvah from the Torah is if a person has a woolen garment, or if he has a linen garment, but put linen garment on the side. Wool garment, meaning the wool of sheep, not the wool of camels, not the wool of rabbits, not the wool of foxes, only the wool of sheep. That is the mitzvah mideoraita. So you have wool garment, wool strings, and that's it, you're in. Rava, however, said no. Any garment can be deoraita, so long as the strings match the garment. So if I have a cotton garment, cotton strings, deoraita. If I have let's say, a different garment made out of cotton or made out of silk. Now, he also says that if you have wool strings, wool is universal, and universal strings will cover every single garment. So it comes out, we have a fantastic mahloket over here. This mahloket translated into a big mahloket between the Sfaradim and the Ashkenazim, as Shulchan Aruch writes in Siman Tet. Shulchan Aruch writes that for the Sfaradim, we follow the opinion of Harambam, and we follow the opinion of the Rif. And yesterday we learned about the great Rabbi, the Rabbi Yosef ibn Megas. And we learned that all these great rabbis believed that the opinion of Rabbi Ishmael is correct. And therefore only wool deoraita. And that's what Maran wrote. The Ashkenazim, who follow the opinion of Rama, Ubnei Yisrael Yotzeim Beyad Rama, so they came along and said, no, any garment is deoraita, so long as you either have the same strings or wool strings. And they're following the opinion of Rabbeinu Asher. So there you have it. So if you're a Sephardi and you want to do the mitzvah in the most advantageous way, which would be the deoraita, and as yesterday we gave the mashal, why would you collect a $50 bill if you can collect a $100 bill? The deoraita is way more valuable than a drabanam. And even the Mishnah Berurah we saw said, Yireh Shamayim yizaher lekayem et ha-mitzvah be'tzemer. Even though it's Ashkenazi. But he said, Yireh Shamayim, why should you do the mitzvah in a compromised way? Do the mitzvah according to the majority of the opinions. Now, there is a famous teshuvah of Rav Moshe Feinstein, alav shalom. Rav Moshe Feinstein, alav shalom, writes in the Igrot Moshe, it's in volume 1, and he writes over there that although the entire concept of wearing talet katan, which we're talking about talet katan, because today all the talet gados are wool, we don't have to worry about that. But talet katan, it's a humrah, it's a stringency. Let's review why. The Torah says if you have a four-cornered garment, so then you have to put Tzisit on. If you don't have a four-cornered garment, you don't have to. There was no such thing that you go to the store and you buy a four-cornered garment with strings on it. In the olden days, their shirts, like the Panama shirts, they had four corners on it. It's open on the sides. That was the style of the clothes. Or they had like the big Rosh Hashiva's coats. So you have 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So therefore, it was the style. Okay, they were wearing the garment anyway. However, today, we don't have garments like that. Even if I have a sport jacket, it's round. It's not a corner over here. Even the Rosh Hashivas, they wear those long coats. If you look at the back of them, they make them round. So in order, they don't have to put the Sisit on. So to go out to the store to buy a four-cornered garment that was manufactured specifically for the mitzvah is, However, we mentioned this yesterday. I'm happy to see Rabbi Moshe Feinstein said it, Baruch Shekivanti. The Gemara says that there's certain times where Hashem is angry. This is called Idan Retha. Now, Idan Retha, when God is angry, the punishment and the judgments are on people, even if they're doing things that they're not obligated in doing. For example, even if somebody who normally is not wearing Sisit, you can't blame him. He has a good claim in court. You can tell God, I'm not obligated to wear Sisit. You're right, but Idan Retha, they get him on that. Yes? Now, who knows when Idan Retha is? Listen, like I said yesterday, every day in the United Nations there's Idan Retha against the Jewish people. Since the past year, Idan Retha, every single day, lo alenu, there's dead people in Eretz Israel. They just killed a Chabad guy in the Emirates, whereas in Dubai, in wherever in the Middle East. So lo alenu v'lo alechem. So it's sakana for the Yehudim. They beat up a Jewish girl in London. Anti-Semitism is strong. Who knows if this is Idan Retha? So now Idan Retha, the Gemara says, even on a mitzvah aseh that you're not obligated in, they get you. So Moshe Feinstein says, you're going to roll the dice? Mm-hmm. He said, we're going to roll the dice. Now maybe put on 3 pairs of sisiyot because of Idan Retha. And he says, and therefore you should want to fulfill it even with wool. Now, Moshe is Ashkenaz. He had every right to wear cotton, but he says he never did. He always wore wool because of this Gemara of Idan Retha. He didn't want to get caught, and God forbid, if Hashem is angry, he wanted the extra protection, so therefore you have to know that. Today, if somebody comes and asks you for siguna, Hacham, I need a siguna for protection. The best siguna you can tell them, wear wool sisiyot. Finish. That's the best siguna you can tell them. Why? That's not a siguna from some, from some fairy tale book. This is Gemara saying this. Gemara saying, but he's done it for your protection.
So they gave it in the war to the
100%. We gave out thousands of sisiyot. Thousands. We'll get to the shiur in a second. Even if you don't have the shiur, that will not allow you to make a beracha, but it's still doraita. Still doraita. Beracha is a different discussion. The beracha, we have safek berachot lehakel. So we're only going to say to make the beracha if it's tremendous, 26 inches long this way, whatever we said. But even if it's not that big, well, is the item. Now, Moshe said something else that I said yesterday. I'm so happy I said this. I didn't see it. But Baruch Shekivanti. He said, don't tell me that it's hot. Because the people are going to complain, it's 80 degrees outside. I'm wearing, what's the siyot over here? It's hotter in Gehinnom, by the way, trust me. So he says over here, look at this, look at this over here. In other responsim, Rav Feinstein explained how important it is to observe those practices that the poskim recommended for those who possess fear of heaven. He insisted that people make sure to wear a woolen talit katan even during the heat of the summer, just as he always did. And now again, this is all for the Ashkenazim. He has to convince them. He doesn't have to convince us. We have Shulchan Aruch. We don't need Rav Moshe Feinstein's seduction because of Idan Retha, even Avotzad. That's he's trying to convince the Ashkenazim that can get away with wearing cotton. So he has to tell them, listen, don't be a wise guy. Do it the correct way, like I did. But for Sfaradim, it doesn't start. Sfaradim, we know Maran's opinion is will always. And even so, it's not so simple. Even according to the Ashkenazim, there's so many opinions regarding, let's say, somebody wears a cotton garment. There's some opinions that say, and the Rishonim, that you can only fulfill the strings if they're made out of wool and linen together. Huh? Yeah, look at the note over here on the bottom. There's another halachic argument that makes a point to wear only a woolen talit. The Bayit Hadash Mishnah quotes it, that according to some poskim, woolen Sisit tassels cannot be used for garments made up of other textiles. So you can't wear wool for those items. The Benu Meir of Rothenburg rule is necessary to make tassels out of a combination of wool and linen strands, which you can't do today. It's just bishatnez, and we don't have the techelet. So we said you can only do wool and linen if you have techelet. So today we don't have techelet, and Rabbi Meir of Rothenburg said if you're wearing cotton, the only way you could cover it is with a wool and linen strand. So even according to the Ashkenazim, you might not be doing deoraita with cotton. Understand what his point is? Yeah. And some say that even if you're going to put cotton on cotton, which we said is deoraita, 2 of the strings have to be wool in the front, which they don't do anyway. So even the Ashkenazim, they think that it's so simple. I wear cotton with wool or cotton with cotton. Not everybody agrees. But I have to tell you one thing. I don't want anybody to call me up later and they say, hey, you didn't give us all the information. You came over here, you're selling us Hadushim, and you forgot to tell us the Gaon Mevilna. The Gaon Mevilna wore cotton Sisit. That's a wow. Now, if Ronan was there, he'd get into a fight with the Gaon Mevilna. Well, $50, $100, what are you doing? Now we cannot throw this under the table anymore. Gaon Mevilna. So we have to explain the opinion of the Gaon Mevilna. So I saw two different explanations why the Gaon Mevilna wore cotton sisiyot. Number one, in his time, there was the custom to wear linen undershirts. And therefore, he followed the opinion that if he's going to wear a wool sisit, it could be shatnez, because he has the sisiyot of wool over, and then he has a shirt over it, so he's locked in. So it was a separate issue over here. It was a concept of shatnez. And some say better answer. It was known the Gaon Mevilna wore his talet and tefillin all day long. So he was wearing a wool talet. So he was doing the deoraita anyway because he had his talet on the whole day. So therefore he didn't need to worry about the talet katan. He's doing the deoraita every day. And you have the Ramah to say that the cotton is okay. If he wasn't wearing a talet gadol, you're right. Maybe he would have worn a wool, but he had no issue. Okay, that answers the Gaon Mevilna. But hold on to your seats. There was another great rabbi who we know is strict when it came to all the mitzvot, and that's the Hazon Ish. And the Hazon Ish used to wear cotton. Hazon Ish wore cotton. And not only that, there was a great rabbi. I saw this great rabbi, the Steipler rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef Kanievsky. He was machmir on, if you look at his books, the Steipler in his books, Kilot Yaakov, what did it say in the beginning of the book? It says this book was written on paper that there's no hashash hilul Shabbat. What does that mean? The paper? That means they didn't cut the tree on Shabbat. How does he know the paper was Shomer Shabbat? Do I know where this paper came from? Why do we know Shomer Shabbat paper? He writes the whole book was written on niyar she'en bo hashash hilul Shabbat. So he was ma'mir on. And this is the same rabbi, Steipler rabbi, when he was going on a date, shidduch. So it says he had to take a train a long time, 4, 5, 6 hours, however long, to get to the town where the girl was. Anyway, he walks in and they're telling the family, this is a great rabbi, he's Gaon, he's a matmid, he's Hasid, Sadiq. Anyway, he walks in, he sits down on the couch, he falls asleep. Kaslan, this guy over here, he comes into what kind of bad first impression? He comes over, he falls asleep on the couch. They said, what kind of business over here? I'm sleeping. Anyway, they wait till he wakes up. I guess that shit on the camera come up. He says, Slachli, pardon me. On the train, when I was going, I had a suspicion that maybe the chairs had shatnez. So I stood the whole way. Oh. So I couldn't sleep. So I made a Sadiq. This is the man we're talking about, the Steipler rabbi. They say he was a sharpshooter. He had a very, very sharp hand with the gun. He was able to shoot upside down. Imagine the gun upside down with a sharpshooter, because he had to shoot. Because when he was in the war in the Russian army, he didn't want to use the gun on Shabbat in the normal way. So he did it b'shinui. So he learned how to use the gun upside down. And he was deaf. He had a very hard time hearing because he was scared to wear the clothes that they gave him in the army because shatnez. So he didn't wear the earmuffs, he didn't wear the coat. I'm just trying to show you there was a rabbi that was ma'mir, and take a guess what type of sisiyot he wore. Hazak Baruch. Hazak Baruch. Cotton. Now, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. But we have to explain now this opinion of Hazonish and the Steipler rabbi. Now, listen, it's not our problem to explain it. They were Ashkenazim. No problem. By the way, Hakam Mizra'ati, our rabbi, he wore wool. Hakam Ben Sion Abba Shaul, wool. Hakam Avaya Yosef, wool. Okay, we have the great rabbis of the Ashkenazim. But they explain maybe that Hazon Ish wanted to show that according to the Ashkenazim is the Oraita. Meaning, listen, he has a right. He's from that school, so he wants to teach the students that if you wear cotton, you fulfill the mitzvah. So look at the note over here on the bottom. He writes, and Rav Shlomo Zalman Oyebach cited Rav Shmuel Salant. Okay, that we saw. Rav Chaim Kanievsky, last line in the bottom, explained in the name of Hazon Ish that Rav Eliyahu, he's talking about the Gaon Mevilna now too, purposely wore cotton talit to demonstrate that it's possible to fulfill the mitzvah of Sisit with a cotton garment. This was the very reason why the Hazon Ish wore talit katan also, and this is the way they explain B'tzkei Teshuvot. Okay, it's nice. So if somebody comes and tells you what about the Hazon Ish, okay, fine, no problem. But again, it's not going to help you with the way that the Sfaradim are posek. Finally, we have one more issue. So again, today, I'm not telling you to put your cotton sisiot in Geniza. You keep them for a rainy day just in case. Maybe for sleeping. When you go to sleep at night, you can wear your cotton in the bed. Maybe it's easier for you to go to cotton. Okay. Anyway, there's a machloket if Laila is man sisit or not. So, okay, that's another issue. So going to sleep, you can put on your cotton. Even though we saw in the Teshuvah Mordechai Abadi alav Shalom, he said the Menhagen Halab, they would sleep with the talet katan. So don't let anybody be a wise guy tell you, hey, what are you talking about over here? Mahmidim over here. You have your head in your nose in the wall now. You go to sleep with the talet katan. What happened? You fell off a bridge? No, you're wrong. And halab, I saw the teshuvah yesterday. So therefore, it's not a bad idea. However, I just want to review a question that we sent to Rabbi Bitan yesterday, and we got his answer. You remember yesterday, I quoted a bi'ur halacha that said, according to Shulchan Aruch, if your talit falls off, or if you took your talit off and went to the bathroom, when you come back, you have to make a new beracha. Even if it's within 2 minutes, doesn't matter. That's Maran's opinion. And as me and the rabbi were talking before the shiur, the Moroccans actually have the custom to make a beracha. They follow Shulchan Aruch on this. However, our minhag is, safek berachot lehakel, we don't make a beracha. And we were trying to figure out different solutions that maybe there's a way we can make a beracha. So we gave some solutions in the previous shiurim. I'm not going to repeat them. However, if let's say you don't have that solution, when you're going to put the talit back on, you're not making a beracha. And Shulchan Aruch will tell you should make a beracha. So it's not the ideal situation to ever do something against Maran. Even though we're hedging, we say, great. But if Maran was here, he'd tell you, what are you doing? You didn't make a beracha. You're wearing a talit without a beracha. We have no choice. So we never want to, if there's a way to solve the problem, we rather solve it than just to say, Shulchan Aruch says to make a beracha. So it's not so easy just to tell Maran, you have an opinion, we have a different opinion. So we saw the Bi'ur Halacha said, he has a patent, he has a trick. What was the patent? At the time that you're putting on your talit in the morning, when you're saying l'ta'atef b'sisit, so you should have kavanah. That I'm having kavanah that if I take it off, or if it falls off, it's covering it. The whole day. Or the whole time of Sha'arit, because how long you're wearing your talit gadol. Point is, I'm going to make the beracha. A guy knows he goes to the bathroom a few times. He knows he doesn't have a good talit, slips off. In all these cases, I'm having kavanah from now, that it should count. Anyway, Hakam Bitan, he said he didn't bring it in the book. He gave a couple of reasons why he didn't bring it in the book, because it's not so simple, exactly that idea if it works or not. But at the end of the whole teshuvah, he came along and said, it doesn't hurt to have such kavanah. And therefore, he recommended it. Now, the Sharet Teshuvah actually recommended, but not a full recommendation, a reverse idea. I'll tell you what the Sharet Teshuvah said. He said that when you put on your talit in the morning, you should have kavanah that this beracha, the talit gadol, let's hadush, it's reverse. He says when you put your talit gadol in the morning, you should have in mind that it's only for this time. And if it falls off, I don't want this beracha to count. So therefore you'd be able to make a beracha. It's a reverse one. So Hakam Bitan writes, listen, I'm not going to go so far to do that because that's telling you to make a beracha, and the Sharet Teshuvah hedged on that opinion, and the Bi'ur Halacha did not bring that opinion down. So therefore, he doesn't recommend to do that, but he recommends to do the beracha kavanah where you don't have to make a beracha. Where you say, listen, my kavanah is the beracha counts now for the bathroom, for the falling off, and for all the other situations. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, one of the members is just, how come every day you have to make this beracha? Okay, so you don't want to make it every day. Make it once a year. Make it on your birthday. You want to make it on your birthday? No, because the poskim bring that down by Nerot Shabbat. That exactly, you can make a Tanai once a year, and it counts for the whole year. Even though we said it's proper to make these conditions. For example, we learned in the previous shiurim how you're supposed to have kavanah when you say Hashem's name. Yud Ke Vav Ke Haya Hove Yehyeh Adanut Adon Hakol Havaya Adan, all the kavanot in Hashem's name. So if you look at our sidur, the sidur that we use, it's okay. In the beginning, of the first page, it says exactly. Hareni Megale Da'ati. I am making Gilui Adat. I'm making a revelation. That what? Mehayom. Anytime I say the name Yud Ke Vav Ke, it should be Haya Hove Yehyeh. This is the one. But Butchat says to do such a thing. I don't. He has it in this one.
Yeah,
No. My sidur has it. This guy doesn't.
No walking for a Shmais.
Hazak Baruch. So therefore, he says you should have a gilui da'at, and every time I say Elokeinu, it should be that he's takif u'balei yicholet. Then anytime I say Adon, it's Adon. And he says that will cover. If you didn't have kavanah, you already basically you're setting your brain on autopilot. That automatically, anytime you say the Shem, the plane flies by itself. Okay, fine. It's always better to fly the plane manually, by the way, because then you're in the game. Otherwise, you're just pushing a button. But again, sometimes when you forget, it works. So maybe it helps also. Once a year, you make a kavanah that any time I make this beracha, I want to know that if my talit falls over to the bedroom, this beracha will cover it.
30 minutes.
Exactly. And then within 30 minutes, according to everybody, then even Shulchan Aruch then will tell you you don't have to make a beracha, and therefore you solve the problem of not going against Maran when it comes to making a beracha. Baruch Adonai Olam.
Bye-bye.